Hello, guys. Welcome back to our pregame show here on the Five Reasons YouTube channel. I'm Alejandro Villegas and with Mateo and Time. Today, we have a little bit of a different crew going on tonight. Before this game, the Miami Heat facing the Brooklyn Nets. And as usual, this is brought to you by our friends at markbrownpa.com. If you're young with a family, make sure you check it out. You have a lot of things to take care of. With your life, with your assets, and everything that's on your property. So make sure you check them out and visiting markbrownpa.com. They also have their phone number that you can call them at 954-866-8513. Make sure you call them. Don't give your business to any fans from other teams. Give it to a Miami Heat fan. That's markbrownpa.com. And always, as usual, we're brought to you also by our friends at prizepicks.com. Make sure you use the promo code 5 FIVE, and you'll get up to 100% match on your initial deposit, up to $100. Go to prizepicks.com and use the promo code 5 FIVE. So, guys, welcome back. Mateo, Time, how are you guys? What a great game, huh? What a great way to finish the week tonight. The Miami Heat facing the Brooklyn Nets, two teams that have been playing way better than they started this season. So I want to first start with the Miami Heat, of course. I'm going to start with Mateo. Mateo, welcome. What have you liked about the Miami Heat? I know we lost a game to the Lakers that we shouldn't have lost, but still, it's been they've been trending in the right direction, right?
Absolutely, Alejandro. And the last game, what I liked is that they ended their road trip off going 3-2. Now they're back at home, but they walked into a road environment and got the dub. I know they were without Devin Booker, but the Phoenix Suns do have some good players. And what was very good about that game is that the Heat's defensive pressure was much better considering how they lost. And that was a big part of the reason against the Los Angeles Lakers. But speaking about the Heat's guys, Victor Oladipo was excellent. He made 7 out of his 10 shots from the floor and had 26 points with some solid defense. Bam Adebayo was 10 out of 15 from the floor, over 20 points, and just a monster in terms of efficiency in the interior. Jimmy Butler, back to his old tricks. The opponents could not stay in front of him or stop him from getting to the interior and fouling him. He was immaculate from the free throw line, making 10 out of 10 shots. But this was really a big-time win for the Miami Heat because they didn't have one of their main offensive contributors as of late, and that's Tyler Hero, and he has been spectacular in the road setting. But on the defensive end, the Heat's coverage against DeAndre Ayton was pretty good. I know he made half of his 20 shots and was very good in the paint, but the Heat still allowed fewer than 50 points in that area, and the help to getting to DeAndre was very good after the catch, encouraging some pass outs to the perimeter, and the Heat held the Burning Suns to only 26% from the outside. It was a very good win and encouraging because they won 3 in this 5-game road trip away from their building. Now they just have to secure home court.
So, teammate, now that they're back at home, they have to face this hot team that is now the Brooklyn Nets, hot Kyrie Irving and a hot Kevin Durant. So, what's been going on with the Nets? Why are they playing better now?
Even though we are focusing on the offensive side of the ball, they're actually stopping guys now. Shout out to Nick Claxton. Also more they were saying the Nets of all these players. Who was their center? Well, Nick Claxton is averaging about 5 assists in this last 5 blocks in the last 5 games. Like he is swatting everything. Even though he's smaller than Kevin Durant in both like build and height. He's holding on the paint. He's rolling. He's very efficient. He's the type of center you'd want, playing against these guys who their main focus is offense. But as much as we like the clown on the bench, Ben Simmons is a great defender. Claxton's a good defender. Durant, even though we talk about this offensive game, he can hold us on the defense. So it's just been the right mix of, we know these guys can score. Like scoring's having an issue, but credit to Jack Vaughn. He developed this team to the point where KD and Kyrie came here and he got pushed. He was the highest paid assistant coach in the NBA, and anyone else would have said, no, I'd rather leave. I can quit, but he stuck it through. And I think there's also trust. We will never know how much they actually trusted Kevin Durant. I mean, Nash, we know what Durant said over the summer, like he wants to be fired, but they watched Vaughn grow these guys up. He stood there. He humbly sat back and like built that resume of these guys the last 2 years through the bubble. So, and Jack Vaughn also was a former player, so he knows what it takes. He was not a dirty work type of guy, but he was a role player in the sense that he made winning players. So I think his personality has really translated to these guys. It is about trust. I saw where he was drawn out to play for Kevin Durant, And Kyrie said, and KD said, "No, draw the play for Kyrie." Kyrie hit it. So that when you have that type of trust in your coach, you win the game. So if he says set the screen, normally Durant would like probably like wave it off, but his coach is asking the dirty work, and he's seeing the results, and he has to trust in them. So I think that's a dynamic that we haven't heard about since the Kyrie issue. It's been quiet and it's just good vibes. So yeah, they're playing pretty hard. They're playing hard for the coach. They're doing the right things. The role players are playing their role. But they're still human, and we know that a certain Miami Heat player is from the Jersey area, and he loves to play against the Nets. And shout out to I saw the alert. Silver's at our game tonight. The commissioner's at the game tonight, so that's interesting.
Interesting. So it's such a long season in the NBA that gives you the opportunity to actually come back and make a run. And we saw it last year with the Boston Celtics. We might see it this year with any of these two teams also, the Miami Heat and the Brooklyn Nets. Mateo, for tonight's matchup, what are you expecting from the Heat? What's going to change? What's the adjustment for Eric Spoelstra to this hot Brooklyn Nets?
Well, Alejandro, I think the key for the Heat tonight is exploiting the mismatches on the floor for the Brooklyn Nets. That could either be Seth Curry or Joe Harris or the two of them on the floor at once. These are both very weak very weak defensive players who could be hunted down each time a team really suffers when they have more than one weak defensive option on the floor. But the Nets are not a very good defensive rebounding team. They are in the bottom third in terms of defensive rebounding percentage. They give up a bit too high of second chance points. So if the Heat are crashing the glass hard and keeping possessions alive, they could really do some damage to this team. But it will also require Jimmy Butler to play like his last game, getting to the interior a high volume and getting fouled a lot too, because you want to prevent their offense from getting in a rhythm as well. But really, I would go at Joe Harris and Seth Curry every moment they're on the floor.
Pregame, what are you expecting tonight?
Like I said earlier, I fully expect Bomb to. I mean, we talked about this for the last 2 weeks. Like Bomb, this is the Zoe. This is the Shaq. This is a young big man. Not Shaq, because we didn't have young Shaq. But this is like when Zoe came in, and he asserted his will, like defense, offense. I'm actually suspecting a big Larry game. He's been a bit quiet, but he usually wakes up for the type of games, against other stars. So I'm expecting a shootout. No Caleb, so we're gonna lose a bit of our athleticism that we have enjoyed. But Depot was like looking also almost like his pace is all NBA level. So taking a hard fought game. I'm interested to see the chess match between Vaughn and Spo offense defense. But this is where the game that starts coming to play. So I'm expecting Jimmy and Bama Hero to go at Kyrie and Katie and Ben. If Ben is even playing, like I don't even. It's so amazing. You don't even hear the bad noise around the net so more. I don't know if they just said, you know what, no more drama. Let's just do what we can to pay it for. I can't even tell you if Simmons is playing or not.
Right.
Yeah. He's playing.
Yeah, he's playing. So yeah, and Hero is available, by the way. Caleb Martin
Yes.
is out. So for all of you asking in the chat. All right, let's read a couple of comments, and then we're gonna go with our prize picks and our predictions, and we'll call it a day today here in the pregame show. All right, Kryptonite says, is Hero playing today? Yes. Can Depot keep it going against Durant and company? That's a good question. We'll see if he can do it.
Like Mateo said, look who Depot has to go against: Joe Harris, Seth Curry, barbecue chicken.
I would agree in that point, but the Brooklyn Nets do switch often. If he's seeing someone like Ben Simmons or Nicholas Claxton, that could present some issues. He would definitely need somebody like a big man to set a solid screen to get those guys off of them. But the Brooklyn Nets have someone in Nicholas Claxton. To Time's point, I want to expand on it a little further. He's probably my top choice for the defensive player of the year. He can really stop the ball outside, guarding all 5 positions. He gets 8 rebounds a game, and he's also a prolific shot blocker, to what Time said as well. Over his last couple of games, he's already got double-digit blocks. So it would be a tough game for Depot if they're switching very often, but if he is exploiting the mismatches off the dribble, he could get his for sure.
Arlene says Bam owns the Nets. Steve says Jimmy needs to show up for this game. Statement wins, says Arlene. And Christopher Chen with a question: will Bam be the primary defender on KD? What do you guys think?
Maybe, because no Caleb, no, if it's high, Smith Hutchins will have like 3 fouls in the first 2 minutes, so he just might have to be.
I would agree. This is a team that you have to be very conservative with the 2-3 zone because they're second in field goal percentage, second in 3-point percentage, and they're the top team in mid range shots. So I would expect Bam to get a very high usage of guarding Kevin Durant tonight. So, yes.
All right, let's go with our price picks now. Remember, go to prizepicks.com, use the promo code 5 FIVE, and they're gonna match your initial deposit up to $100, a 100% match on your initial deposit. So go ahead and visit prizepicks.com. Let's check some of the numbers today. Let's see what they have for both the Miami Heat and Brooklyn Nets players. So let's start with Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. 28.5 points for Kevin Durant. Over or under for you guys?
Yeah, I ain't go over. This is the Heat. He's gonna be the tallest player on the court, and I don't know if you guys saw the stat. KD is the best at every single mid-range spot this year. KD is the mid-range spanner this year, and the Heat gave up those mid-range jumpers. So, I think it's gonna go over.
What about you,
I,
Patrick?
I agree with him. The Heat give up that zone a lot because of how often they go to the 2-3 zone. I don't think they could go to it too often tonight, but Kevin Durant is a matchup nightmare for everybody. Unless Bam is guarding him, he's going to shoot over his defender like he's just seeing nobody in front of him. So I would go with the over on that. And besides, he's been terrific as of late and not getting enough recognition as a solid MVP candidate this year behind Nikola Jokic.
All right, Kyrie Irving, 25.5 in points. Teammate?
I actually I could see a under just because he's gonna between Gabe and Depot, Larry. I just think they're gonna make a concerted effort to not let Kyrie get off. They're not gonna let both stars go off, and I think Kyrie is a bit easy to try to keep in check or the limit. So I maybe slightly under, slightly like 24 points.
Very close. They're always kind of close. So it's a fun game to play when you do this on PrizePicks.com. All right, let's go with Miami Heat players now. Tyler Hero, 19.5 points. It looks like a good number to go over, right?
For me, I would probably go with the under on this. I think the Brooklyn Nets are 9th in defensive rating, and they do switch a lot. Someone like Nick Claxton, if he is staying in front of Tyler Hero, could really force him into a pass out. For example, the last game the Brooklyn Nets played the New Orleans Pelicans, CJ McCollum tried to isolate Nick on the right side of the court in the half court, and Nicholas Claxton ended up forcing a pass out to the perimeter. He did this on a couple of plays in that game. He is someone who can really stay in front of his man and stop the ball. Tyler is coming back from a back issue. I don't think he's going to have the sharpest night, but I do think he's still going to play well, rebounding the ball and making plays in the pick and roll for Bam Adebayo, but I would go under on this one.
All right, teammate, what do you have to say about that?
He had 9 points the last game he played, and didn't play the game after that. He is going off. I got the over. He's going off.
Teammate's going with the over. All right, let's go now with Bam Adebayo and Jimmy Butler. Jimmy is 20.5 in points. Bam Adebayo 21.5. What do you guys think with these two, Mateo? Over or under?
I'm going to go with the over on both of them. Part of the offensive strategy should be to attack the shot blocker to try to get him in trouble. I think Jimmy's going to have a very successful night at the free throw line, and he's usually super efficient on 2-point shots. I would go with the over on that rather. Now, for Bam Adebayo, I think he is now developing into someone who I expect 20 points per game or 21 points per game as a minimum from him. Last game, he hit some tough shots, especially when he was guarded well by DeAndre, and he hit a running jump shot, just draped all over with DeAndre draped all over him. So I would go with the over on this one too.
Teammate?
I agree. Now we see with this Heat team, they need 3 players to go over 20 points, and we actually have the freedom of option 20. So yeah, I don't foresee them going under. I got them both at over.
All right, over. I'm going with the over as well. So those are our prize picks for today. We gave you 2 players from the Nets, Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant, and 3 players from the Miami Heat, Tyler Hero, Jimmy Butler, and Bam Adebayo. Those are 5 prize picks. Remember, go prizepicks.com and use the promo code 5 FIV to get a 100% match on your deposit. So last question for you guys before your predictions. The Nets are right now, they are, 5.5 games ahead of the Miami Heat. You think the Heat can get them the rest of the season? Can they reach and maybe get to the point where the Nets are right now? They're in
I don't.
second
I don't
in the
think so, but
conference.
I don't think so. But I don't think they'll get home court. But I just don't see them passing it because the Bucks are falling very. They're not falling. Falling very slowly,
Hmm.
and I don't think the help is on the way. They're basically losing games while healthy. So I think the Bucks are going to fall out. The Sixers, we always could count on them falling out. So I could see the Heat take one of their spots, but I don't see the Nets, barring health, of course.
Right.
Slipping.
Mateo, what do you think?
Catching the Nets, no, no shot. They've won 13 games on the road. I think 5 games above 500 out of their building. They secure home court. They're a solid team, and they're on a roll right now. To Time's point, I think a more realistic option would be the Milwaukee Bucks because of Chris Middleton being in and out of the lineup. And right now, the only thing that would also help the Heat get to that point is barring a miraculous turnaround in the second half of the season. They have not been able to properly defend their own building in the first half of the season. Maybe they can get things rolling after coming back from a road trip where they ended 3-5, or excuse me, 3-2 in a positive direction at home now. So I don't know.
Yeah, I agree with you guys. Just to give a little bit of information, the Nets have won 9 of the last 10 games. So that gives you an idea of how hot they are right now. All right, predictions. It's time for your predictions for tonight's game. The Miami Heat facing the Brooklyn Nets in about, let me see, 35, 40 minutes at FTX Arena. So what do you guys think? What's your prediction for tonight, Mateo?
I think the Heat are going to do a pretty good job as usual defending the paint, encouraging the drive and kick and the pass out to the perimeter. But what I think is really going to hurt the Heat is the Brooklyn Nets X factor, and that's TJ Warren. He is an excellent mid-range shooter this year. Half of his attempts come from this area, from shots 3 to 10 feet away from the rim. He makes 46% of those. From shots 10 to 16 feet away, he makes over half of those. They have 3 players who can really eviscerate drop coverage, or if space is presented in front of them from the mid-range. They have also 4 players, when you also count Simmons, who you would trust to put the ball on the floor. They have, I think, just a little bit too much for the Heat to deal with tonight. So I'm going to go with the Brooklyn Nets, Alejandro.
All right, teammate, what do you think? Do you agree with Mateo?
I sadly agree. This will be a violent effort, but I just don't see this team losing right now. They are in a zone. They're not rare zone that you just can't miss.
All right,
It'll
so
be a good fight.
since I'm here subbing for Jonathan, I have to be the positive one, right? So I'm gonna say the Miami Heat is gonna win this one. They're gonna continue in a roll. They're gonna continue playing good basketball. They're gonna go 3 games over 500, and they're gonna get closer to the Indiana Pacers in the Eastern Conference Finals. Thank you guys for joining us again here on the pregame show. Thank you to all of you that watched this, that send your comments. Kyler Johnson says, "Need a big game from Deep and Bam." Thank you, Kyler. Thank you to all of you. Remember, subscribe, turn the notifications on so you guys get one of those every time we go live or every time we post videos. We're gonna start posting a lot of videos from the Dolphins. The Dolphins just made the playoffs. We have plenty of coverage there. Ethan Foley was there at Hard Rock Stadium, so we're gonna start uploading those videos to the YouTube channel. Make sure you go check them out because we have plenty of coverage for the Miami Dolphins, who are now a playoff team. Thank you very much. Enjoy the game. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, guys. And we'll see you later tonight. For all of you that are Miami Heat fans, we'll see you later here with the post-game show live on the 5 Reasons YouTube channel. Bye-bye. Have a good one.
Bye-bye.